back to the Gilly Custom Workshop. Paul Gilly here, and today we're going to build some cabinets. And by today, I mean today and the next bunch of days, because it takes more than one day to build a bunch of cabinets, especially when you're handcrafting them all from scratch. But I'm going to show you the whole process. It's going to be kind of cool. Got a bunch of maple here that we're going to use. That's some of it. There's a bunch more stacked right out there. Let me show you where this maple comes from real quick. Alright, so we're going to build some cabinets. We got a bunch of maple. Now, you may have seen in my last video, one of my last videos, one where I introduced the WoodMaster here. I milled a whole bunch of maple up, and that was this stuff here. I had said that I was going to use that for this cabinet job. I've determined that I can't do that. I'll show you why. Well, you probably can't see on the camera, but this is some beautiful. We got spalted stuff here. We got some beautiful figuring in this maple. It would be a sin to paint it. So I'm not going to use this stuff for these cabinets because they wanted their cabinets painted, and this stuff is just too pretty to paint. So I'm going to save this for when I build my own cabinets. I know, selfish me. And I'm going to stain them, not paint them. What I did is I went out to CP Johnson he's a local hardwood supplier, and I got all this other maple, and I'm going to plane that down and use that for these cabinets. This is just regular hard maple, real good stuff, and takes paint very nicely, and it's less of a shame to paint this because it doesn't have the crazy figuring that this other maple has. So this is what we're going to use for these cabinets. So we're going to put the sheriff to work here. Sheriff Woody the WoodMaster is going to chomp through all this stuff, make it nice and pretty for me. I got a couple different sizes here. Most of what I got is this 4/4 stuff. That's right, if you're not familiar, rough cut lumber is sold in an amount of quarters. 4/4 meaning an inch thick. It's actually a little bit over an inch right now, which gives us a little room to play with. So anyways, that 4/4 stuff I'm going to plane down to a finished thickness of 3/4 of an inch, which is our material for most of our cabinet parts, the frames, the door stiles and rails and all that. Now in this video, I'm not going to show every single detail of the whole process of the cabinet building, because that would make a prohibitively long video. But what I have done is I've made a bunch of other smaller, shorter videos showing the different steps. So this is kind of a general comprehensive video showing kind of the overview, and you can check out the links in the description to all the individual videos showing the different steps of the process. So here I'm planing and edging the lumber. For more on that, you can check out the episode on the WoodMaster. Of course, I could go to a big box store and buy this stuff already planed and squared off and everything. You know, actually a couple of the big box stores actually carry maple, nice maple boards all planed down. And if I was a dummy, I'd go and buy that. Luckily, I'm not a dummy. I'm gonna plane my own instead, because each of these boards that I'm planing, each one of these, about this size right here, at a big box store would cost about 50 bucks. I'm not even kidding. These are not very big boards. They're 6 inches by about 7 feet long, maybe. And that at the big orange big box store near me is about 50 bucks. So it's a no-brainer. We're putting Woody to work instead. So we got all that maple planed nice and pretty with the WoodMaster. Made short work of it. We also, you can see behind me, I already started cutting a bunch of the plywood parts for the cabinets. I like to use maple because it's pretty, it's strong, it stains or paints nicely, and I can pretty easily get this maple plywood that I use for the box parts. So the box parts are going to be maple plywood. All the face frames are solid maple, the stuff that I've been planing. Doors will also be solid maple. Raised panel, all solid maple. I don't use MDF. I don't believe in that crap. Drawers also all solid maple. There'll be dovetail connections, all that good stuff. But the boxes of the cabinets are maple plywood. So those parts I've already cut. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to cut all these pieces of all these 3/4 inch pieces of maple into the face frame parts first, and then we're going to cut all of our door parts. So my cabinet frame material being 3/4 of an inch thick, I ripped down to 1.5 inch widths for the stiles, which are the vertical parts of the frames, and the rails, which are the horizontal parts. I rip all those down and then cut them to length. Alright, we got all our cabinet face frame parts cut. I like to make a nice little checklist, and then I cut them all and label them, stack them by size and by type. And we're going to do some routing. We're going to use the DADO blade on the table saw. By the way, let me show you this table saw I'm using for all this. This is not what you would call a cabinet saw. This is just a regular kind of contractor grade table saw. I'd like to have a cabinet saw, maybe someday, you know. But yeah, it's just the Bosch, you know, it's the one that every single contractor owns. I got a few upgrades on it though. For one thing, this zero clearance plate right here is pretty awesome. Basically it comes as just a plate with no slit in it at all. You install it, you turn on the saw, and then you raise the blade, and it makes a cut exactly where the blade is. So the benefit of that is when you're cutting really thin pieces with your saw, really little tiny pieces, if you use the regular plate, this one, the piece might fall right in there, get hung up on the blade, and wreak all kinds of havoc. I've had that happen, so got the zero clearance one. It's pretty great. This is the regular one. I also have this wider one for when I use the DADO stack, which is these guys. Another cool little thing I put on here is this little extension for the back. It can actually retract. You just loosen the screw, push it right in. It's pretty handy. Helps catch the piece on its way out. So yeah, there it is. I've built countless cabinets with this saw, even though it's not officially a cabinet saw. It's pretty great though. What is a DADO blade? Okay, glad you asked. It's basically a system of blades where you have two end blades, extra thick, then you got these chippers that go in the middle. 1, 2, or 3, however many you use, and then spacers and shims and stuff. The idea is to make wide grooves. I have another video showing a little more detail on this whole DADO cut thing, so check it out. The link is right there in the description of this video, along with a few others. Watch that video. That'll give this whole detail on how the DADO stack works on the table saw and how to do it safely. So as I showed in that other video, I'm cutting a 1/2 inch wide by 1/4 inch deep groove in the back parts of the stiles and rails of these cabinets for where the plywood box parts will glue in. And that's it. We got all our grooves cut in the stiles. Now we're going to readjust this and make all the cuts we need in the rails. Alright, so we got all the stiles and rails of all the cabinets cut. So now, next question. How do you join the face frame parts together? Well, I'll give you a clue. I don't use pocket hole screws. What I do is I join them together with the Festool domino. So I got a whole video showing that as well. Links in the description. It's called The Best Joint for Cabinet Face Frames. Basically what the domino does is it cuts a mortise in either side of whatever you're joining together, and then the domino itself acts as a floated tenon that glues into there. Makes an extremely strong bond, just like any mortise and tenon, and if your glue joint is right, it's going to be stronger than the wood itself, so it's going to hold together firmly. When I'm done putting this together, this will be far superior to anything made by pocket hole screws. There we go. Got all the cabinet frames glued up. I would just need a slight little bit of sanding over at where the joints are, which won't take very long at all because that domino does a good job keeping everything nice and flush. So there we go. Everything's joined up. A little bit of sanding, and then these frames are ready for paint. I like to spray the paint before assembling the cabinet boxes because the insides of the boxes don't get paint. So easier to spray the paint first The outsides of the cabinet box, for the most part, are getting panels, which will build just the same way we build the doors. So those will cover those exposed sides. Talking's hard. So there we go. Just got to stand these things up, and they'll be ready for paint. Next, the doors. Now, building the cabinet doors is a whole process in itself. So, of course, I got a video showing just that. It's, again, in the description. The video is called Building Cabinet Doors. Who would have thought? Check that out. That kind of shows you more in depth the whole process. Another video you may want to check out is my perfect panel glue up video for these door panels. Now, when I'm doing a flat panel, I usually use a 1/4 inch plywood. But for these raised panels, in this instance, we're gluing up solid maple and going to route those edges down to make them beveled. So check out my video, Perfect Panel Glue Ups, and that'll show you how I do that. And just like that, all of our cabinet door frame parts are ready. Got them all stacked by which door they belong to, all labeled. Next thing we're going to do is take the panels that we glued up, and we're going to route them to make that bevel. And once all the parts are cut and routed, time to put them together. Once again, check out the video Building Cabinet Doors, and this is the miter method, by the way. A couple different ways of making cabinet doors. In this particular instance, we're using the miter method. Not my favorite way of doing it, but it's the way we needed to do it for this particular job. So check out that video for kind of the whole process on that. Alright, after letting the glue set, it's turned out pretty good. Still a little bit of the burning on the panels that I routed because I think my bit was not as sharp as I would have liked it to be, but that's okay because these are getting painted. So there we go. We're just gonna sand these things down now, whatever we hadn't already sanded before. Sand it down to 220 grit, and then we're gonna get them painted. So we'll spray the primer first, and then we'll spray the paint. Here we go. All right, we got our cabinet frames done. We got our cabinet doors done. You saw how we joined them, cut the pieces, and joined them all together. I went ahead and finished them, sprayed on the primer and the paint. I didn't bother showing that because it's boring. You don't want to see that. It's my least favorite part. Anyways, while we're waiting for that cabinet paint to fully cure, we're going to build some drawer boxes. Now, you probably knew this was coming. I'm going to tell you I got another video you got to go and watch. That's right, how to build dovetail drawers. So check out that video, and that will show you in depth how I build these solid hardwood dovetail connected drawers. Alright, we are on a roll with these cabinets. Me and Ethan here. He's trying to hide, but maybe if he closes his eyes we won't see him. Where did Ethan go, everybody? Alright, so we're on a roll. We got the frames built, we got the frames painted now. We built doors, we painted doors, we built drawers. Here they are. Look at all them drawers. Now we're gonna start assembling the boxes. This is the kind of the part where you see it all come together. Another thing I didn't show you is cutting all the plywood parts. Also kind of boring, but now they're getting some dado cuts, and then we can assemble these cabinets. So we got piles of them back here, and we got some more over there. There they are. They're getting their dados. So you saw what dados are on the frames. It's the same thing on these box parts. Little groove on the back of the side pieces for where the back piece goes in, and then we're also going to make a groove in the tops and bottoms. Well, bottoms only of the base cabinets. Tops and bottoms of the upper cabinets for where the top and bottom pieces will attach into the frame parts. So let's cut some dados, and we're going to start assembling these. Alright, it is time to put a cabinet together here. So these are our basic cabinet parts. We got the frame, which has already been finished by spray. Like I said before, I don't like to have to try to spray these cabinet frames once the cabinets are put together, because then you got to cover the inside, and that's just a pain. So we have the bottom piece of the cabinet. Little notches right here. It's going to slip right into here. I'll put this the other way. That's going to go in the back and the bottom. And we got the back piece and the sides, each with the groove for where they're going to hook into this bottom piece. And then we got the side pieces have a dado cut on the ends for where the back piece attaches. So basically, side piece number one, slips right into there. Yes, we are going to glue and brad nail these, but I'm just showing a dry fit here. There's that. Bottom piece. Look at that fit. And then that's going to sit right on there. Look at that. Fits like a box. Now we can take all this apart, glue it, add some brad nails along these back edges, along where all the connections are, and there we go. There's a cabinet. There we go. There's a cabinet. Now as we build these, they're glued and brad nailed together. The brad nails hold it till the glue sets, and then some. The face frames are not nailed though, it's only glue there. So we want to put some weight on top of these to hold them in until the glue sets. So what I usually do is I stack them. So I'm going to move this over, put the next cabinet on top of it, put a weight on it, and just stack up a couple cabinets together as I go. And there we go. And once the glue is nice and set, we can pick these up and install drawers and doors and shelves and all that stuff. And they'll be ready for install. There it is, people. And once those cabinets are put together, it's time to install doors and drawers. Once again, you can refer to the video on the cabinet drawers to see the whole install process. You'll notice I'm using undermount drawer slides, not the side mount type. The undermounts are way stronger, way better. They're smoother. Just overall, the better option. So that's all I use for cabinet drawers. Then I mount the drawer faces, and voila, that's it. Just one thing left to do on these cabinets. Make my mark. I like to put it in here. And on the sides of the drawers where people can see them. Hey, Dad. Now there's no mistaking, these are Gilly custom cabinets. Alright, there it is. I think I showed you pretty much the whole process of building these custom cabinets. At least all the important parts. I hope you like what you saw. Between this video and all those other more specific videos showing the specific tasks. If you haven't checked those out, go ahead and check them out. They'll give you the details on all these different steps of the process. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your thumbs ups. If you haven't given me one yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I appreciate your support. Check out all our other videos. Check out the series Building the Dream One Tree at a Time. That follows myself, my wife, and my kids building our house out in the woods. Out of the woods. Building our house out of the trees of the woods. Yeah, basically we're cutting down our own trees milling them into timbers and lumber, and building our own dream house from it. So check that out if you haven't already. It's a fun process. That's what I'm going to get right back to as soon as this cabinet job is all done and installed and ready to go. So that's real cool. Thanks for following our channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider it. We'd appreciate that. And we'll catch you on the next one. God bless.